Hello, and welcome to Metahuman Mesh and Character Blueprint, a tutorial for Unreal Engine 5. In this module, we will go over how to make a custom metahuman, how to download metahumans from Bridge to Unreal Engine 5, and how to apply metahuman meshes to the third-person character. We will start by making a custom metahuman. To do this, we will launch the Metahuman Creator, and I'll show you how to create a new metahuman by choosing a starting point. We will explore the Metahuman Editor, and then we'll finish up by showing you how to modify your existing metahuman creation. To make your own custom metahuman, you'll have to go to metahuman.unrealengine.com, and here you'll have to select the version of the Metahuman Creator which you want to launch. Right now there's the main version right here. All you have to do is click the Launch Latest Metahuman Creator. Also, if you want to do an alternate version of doing this, where you use the Mesh to Metahuman, that will require the Metahuman plugin for Unreal Engine 5. However, standard importing of both preset and custom created metahumans only requires access to Quixel Bridge, and to create your own, all you have to do is click the Launch Latest Metahuman Creator. As this says, it will take a while to connect to the Metahuman Creator. This is all in the cloud. To speed this up, I will fast forward. Now that Metahuman Creator has fully booted up, you can see my metahumans. These are custom metahumans that I've already created. There's quite a variety. If this is your first time entering the Metahuman Creator, this area may be empty, and you actually might default to this Create tab. Click the Create tab if you're not already in it. This will take a second to load properly. Here you can see the library of pre-made metahumans. Now, there is no true default state for a metahuman where you can start to create from scratch. The way you make a metahuman is you choose a pre-made metahuman that's ideally closest to the metahuman you wish to create. You'll also see that these warning signs, there's certain meshes on them, whether it's hairstyles, beards, or something. That can only be displayed at level of detail 0 and 1. That's very high level of detail. So if you want any lower level of detail, you'll have to either choose a starting point that doesn't have one of these warning signs, or once you go into the starting point with a warning sign, you'll have to change whichever components have those level of detail warnings. So let's start with Druv. Since he has these warnings, we'll try to find those warnings and get rid of them. Hit Create Selected. And now this is a new metahuman. I can change his name. Let's say I will name him Danny. The reason I renamed him is because Druv is specifically this guy. And this metahuman uses grooms that are currently in development, only displayed at level of detail 0 and 1. So you can see the interface here. You have the viewport. You have the animations down here on the bottom. Right now he's in the idle animation. You can change the animations here. I can make him happy. Now he's not animated, but he's in the happy state. There are expression loops, so he can be happy and animated. There are several other animations here I'll let you go through. There's other types of poses and animations here as well, for the face and for the body. There are other expressions and poses you can find here as well. You can also pause or completely stop your animation. I'll let it run because he looks like a very jolly fellow. You'll see your hotkey reference right here. This is important to note, especially if you're new to Metahuman, because it tells you how you can do a bunch of different functions. For example, face camera is 1. I believe we're already at face camera. Body camera is 2. I just hit 2. Torso camera is 3. This is if you want to see the detail of their clothing, for example. Legs is 4. Feet is 5. 6 is a far off camera, so you can see the whole body. Everything. But I like his smiling face. So let's figure out what grooms are only 0 and 1. Likely the beard and the hair. So here you can see on the left panel, this shows the different faces and the face features. For example, I can change the skin tone. That's an interesting color. There we go. Maybe make them like that. Change the eye color. Can even go deep into it, change the iris, change all the other features. There we go. Nice eyes. Maybe a little bit greener there. I think that looks nice. Show the teeth. Add some variation to the teeth. Teeth color, maybe a bit more white. Gum, it's a little bit more red. There we go. This is an interesting feature here. So, in here in the viewport, you have this blend. You also have sculpt and move. These are features where you can change parts of the face. For example, this is in blend right now. I can grab this. Oh, I can't do anything yet because I don't have anything here. You need to get the blend function here. And now what you could do is you look at other presets. You have to add at least 3. So let's add Bernice, Ayo, Brian. You can add even more. Bess. Now I have 4. So now you see this mirrors what I've got here. I can now start making parts of the face look more like whoever I'm moving it towards. Notice the shape. It's got that cross because it's here. It's crossing. So whichever one, I take I guess this is his right cheek since it's mirrored. If I do this, it just very subtle changes to make the Metahuman look more like that individual preset. You can also sculpt individually and move parts of the face to customize it the way you want it. You can customize skin, eyes, teeth, makeup. Now the eyeshadow there. That looks nice. Red lipstick. Other color lipstick. Blush. But let's get to the LOD issues. So, head. Oh, style. That's why it was stuck in details up here. So the beard looks good, actually. These are the warning beards. So he can maintain his fabulous long beard. I'm kind of jealous, actually. That's a great looking beard. And so probably the hair style. So we have this hairstyle. You see, this is where the warning is. So let's say I like his long hair. What other long hair could I do? Maybe this one? It looks kind of like a hippie. To rotate him like this, I'm holding down the middle mouse button. Holding down the right mouse button does the same to rotate. Pan in and out with the mouse button as well. You can have different body types in the proportions. Notice the warning went away when I changed his hair. You can have different clothing that say, I'd rather he was wearing a hoodie. You can also add details and graphics to it. Say he likes a nice surfboards, surfer dude. Oh, that is bright. There we go. Nice pink. Where's a nice color that complements that? There we go. That's not too bad. Actually kind of looks ridiculous, but I like it. So once you're done with that, this automatically saves. So all changes are saved. It will give you a warning if you try to X out of the browser. If you want to have different looks at them, you can also use the studio function up here. See what it looks like in a city, downtown night, underpass at night. Give him a nice animation to see and preview what he looks like. Peace. There we go. There's my hippie Danny. You can get the LODs here. So this is what he looks like with very high LOD, so low res. This is for very far away. And this is what he looks like very high res. And if you want to see him more ray traced, there you go. Such a happy guy. Looks great. Anyway, let's move on to getting Danny into Unreal Engine. Importing Metahuman from Quixel Bridge to Unreal Engine 5. I will show you how to use Bridge in Unreal Engine 5, how to download Metahuman files, and how to add these files to your project's content folder. Make sure you have the Unreal Engine 5 project open that you want to use the Metahumans in. First thing you'll have to do is make sure that the Bridge plugin is installed. You can do that by clicking Edit Plugins and then searching for Bridge. If it's not installed, click this button, this check mark right here, to make sure that it is installed, and then restart the engine. The tab for Bridge should appear right here. You can also go Windows, Quixel Bridge, and it will go to the tab. You'll have to log in. Once you're logged in, go to this tab right here that looks like the little person in a circle. You'll see here are the presets. And the next tab down is My Metahumans. You can see here's Danny alongside all my other metahumans. Check mark means it's downloaded already. Since I just created Danny and he was saved on the cloud, he's here and not yet downloaded. It's just accessing what's on the cloud. Here you can choose the quality of the asset you wish to download. I would stick with highest quality unless you have issues and can't get in. These settings should be alright. If you click download, the download will begin. I'll skip ahead until the download is finished. Once the download is finished, you'll see that the check mark is now there. You can now click Add. It imports the assets to your project. Once it's finished loading, you can either navigate to it in your browser, your content browser, to your Metahumans folders where it will download to. Or if you want to zoom directly to it, you can click the Add button again. If you get a pop-up saying that the data's changed, you probably can ignore that. I'm not sure what that is, but it doesn't seem to affect anything that I've been working with thus far, but if anyone knows, please let me know. You can navigate down to Metahumans folder in your content browser. This shows where the different metahumans are. Danny is also here. You can see Danny right here in the corner. It's preparing his shaders. You can double click his blueprint. And there he is. Your creation is now in Unreal Engine. Now, let's work with these files. Adding Metahuman Meshes to playable character. We will now prep a third-person character. I'll show you how to add mesh components to this character, and then how to adjust the skeletons and animations. Before we add our metahuman components to our character, we need a base character that works in the level. An easy way to do that is to add a feature pack. You can add the content from the third person. This is a good one to use. You can also use some of these other ones if you would like. I've already added a third person project to this project as well. I've even modified this a bit in a prior tutorial so that I can switch between third person and first person. You'll see the third person folder in your content browser. And if you look in blueprints, you'll find this third person character. You can double click on that. You can see here's the additional code I added from my other tutorial. Yours, if you didn't go through that other tutorial, you won't have this, but you will have the rest of this. Now that you have this third-person character, I recommend as a best practice to whenever you change something from its base form, to make a duplicate, just so you don't, if you mess up, you don't mess up everything that's come before it. So this one could be the third person. Actually, you know what? I'll call it Blueprint Meta Third Person. And this is where we'll be editing. Now its base mesh is currently the Quinn sample. We're going to want to change that. So find your blueprint of the metahuman that you created. So we're using Danny here, old Danny boy. If you look at this, metahuman blueprints have, instead of just a mesh, get rid of the standard third-person character. So Quinn has just a mesh, but we want this meta third-person character to be Danny. Danny as a metahuman has body, feet, legs, torso, face, all these complex forms and pieces. So the base form is going to be the body. You notice that all of these are children of the body component. So what you're going to want to do is find the body component. So this is Danny's body. You can see his hands and his ankles, which I thought was an interesting choice with the way they create metahumans. Hands and ankles are the body. Make sure it's selected. And in the mesh that you're changing, add it to the skeletal mesh asset. And in the viewport, you can see what just happened. Actually, let me undo it here. You see this Quinn, and if I redo it, adding the mesh, now you notice it becomes unanimated. That's because it kicks it out of Quinn since it has a different skeletal mesh. So you want to make sure it has the same skeletal mesh. You go back here to the body, you right click, skeleton, assign skeleton, and Quinn's, if you want to find what it was, you can go to that mesh component, but this one is the skeletal mesh skeleton. Hit accept. And then if you add one of the mannequin blueprints, you see the animation is now there. Obviously, we want more than just the hands and the feet. So the next step is to add all of these components: the feet, the legs, the torso, the face, and all the grooms here. Copy these. You're also going to want the Elodie sync. But let's do that in a second. Let's grab these first. Copy. And paste it into mesh. Make sure these are all in the right order. No, they're not. They're not children of mesh. Now they are. And doing that, it's kicked out all the grooms. Make these children of face. There we go. And notice it's all up there now. You still have the body down here. And it looks like he still has the animation. And somewhat of the animation. His feet aren't moving. But the upper body seems to be. So what you do is you take all these things that we just added, all these components. Or at least the main components here, not the grooms. You can see over here the rotation's 90. Make that 0. Now he's facing the right way. And the location, also 0. That looks a little bit better. Animation's still not quite right. Click on each of the components. And under animation, to sync up the animation, change it to Anim Preview Attached Instance. That's something that comes with metahumans, so that animations can sync up. Do the same with the feet. You don't have to do the same with the face. That has its own Anim blueprint. Face Anim blueprint. It's special for metahumans. But you might as well do it for the torso too. That should all be synced up. Now we're actually almost finished with this method. If we go back here and select the character blueprint and go from details to world settings, if you change the default pawn class, make sure that the game mode is the third person game mode. If you change the default pawn class to your newly created blueprint, and you hit play, we now have a working, fully animated metahuman. Doing all the things you would expect him to do, except you notice his hair's flashing in and out. That's because the LOD isn't set properly. It's kind of sitting between LOD ranges. So to fix that, go back to your blueprint. Notice that there's no LOD component here. So go to Danny's original blueprint. There's a lot of nice tools that are with the base blueprint. You can see down here there's many different functions. For instance, if you want to do ARKit face setup, live link retargeting, bunch of different functions here that you can pull. If you don't need them, you don't have to move them over. But if you need them, like we need this LOD sync, copy it, paste it. Now I have an LOD sync. What you'd like to do with your LOD sync is you'll see over here, number of LODs. There's two different things you could do. You can either force a single LOD, or you can limit the LODs. Right now there's 8. If you want to keep them, 2 is a good number to choose. Now only 2 LODs will show. Compile. Notice you don't get a change anymore. So what I'm demonstrating now is my other tutorials. Ability to change between first person and third person, so you can see your own body as you're running. Notice that he's seeing his head too. So that's due to the fact that this character model is shorter than Quinn. I believe I have a Quinn over here. So if I just run and jump up to her, you notice that I'm quite a bit shorter. The metahumans, the base normal height, are shorter than the mannequins. So to adjust that, I'm going to go back into this blueprint. I'm going to find the camera and adjust the location. I believe it's the... Here it is. So this times 80 in this advanced third person to first person toggle is the height that the camera goes to. So if I change this to 70 instead of 80, just go down by 10 units. Let's see what that looks like. A little better. Not perfect. Head's a little forward. So let's move the x-axis, I believe it is, a little forward too. So starting with the camera. Forward by 20. No, X location 30. Okay, so the X location is, no, 30. So let's change that to 30. And there's just going to be little minutia, little small adjustments that might be required to suit whatever purposes you have. Let's try that. Okay, that looks a lot better. You can run and see your arms and legs flailing as you move. Excellent. So there you go. Crazy Surfer Dude is now in your level. Fully animated. Ready for adventure. Conclusion and next steps. We went over creating your own metahuman, importing metahumans, adding Metahuman Mesh to a character blueprint. Now you can try customizing using your own methods. Please experiment with mesh components and animations, and seek out further information on forums, documentation, and tutorials. Thank you, and have fun learning.